Meet Stan. He is a 40-year-old married male with two little kids. Because of his job as an HR clerk, he is put under a lot of stress and thinks that he doesn't have much control over his work schedule or pace. This particular day, he has many errands to run. However, the checkout line at the supermarket is very long, and the cashier just announced that their credit card machine has malfunctioned, and for the rest of the day, they will only accept cash. Stan, who is already late to pick up his kids from daycare, checks his purse, only to not find any cash. Now he has to run to the ATM, but there's no time. Should he withdraw the cash, or leave the store to pick up his kids? Three major communicative systems get activated: the voluntary nervous system, the autonomic nervous system, and the neuroendocrine system. The voluntary nervous system is responsible for voluntary actions. This type of activation gets the body ready for any sudden movement or reaction to a stressful situation, such as running away from a predator. The autonomic nervous system has two branches, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic branches. The sympathetic branch will essentially form the stress response. It will make arteries that supply blood to the muscles relax so that more blood can be disseminated, increasing the capacity for movement that might become necessary. Epinephrine, a stress hormone, is released into the bloodstream. In addition, blood flow to non-essential parts of the body, such as the digestive tract, kidneys, and skin, is reduced. The parasympathetic branch will initiate systems that will calm the body after a stressor has passed and bring the body back to homeostasis. It is a combination of these two branches that keeps the body in check. The neuroendocrine system is responsible for the release of hormones that affect many bodily processes, such as metabolic rate. This is essentially what occurs as a response to stress. But how does Stan's brain first create or understand that there is a stressful situation afloat? It primarily all starts with his senses. The information from the senses go to the thalamus in order to get processed. The thalamus then signals the amygdala, which will then appropriately decide whether or not this is a threat. If it is a threat, then a stress response will occur by eliciting a fear response. Then the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland will initiate the release of stress hormones, which will then make the body go into a flight or fight mode, essentially activating the three communicative systems that we discussed. These are the most important parts of the brain that are involved in the human stress response, although a number of others are also involved, such as the cortex, the spinal cord, the hippocampus, and the bed nucleus of the striatal terminals. Stress is defined as anything that will disrupt homeostasis. The release of epinephrine to the bloodstream generates and mobilizes energy to the muscles. Other hormones called glucocorticoids, specifically cortisol, are also induced. Cortisol released from the kidney has many effects, including increasing the functionality of the cardiovascular system, as well as the replenishment of energy. Cortisol levels are usually high in the morning, which helps stimulate appetite and physical activity after waking up. Cortisol and epinephrine also activate the immune system, which provides immediate protection against pathogens. All of what has been described so far is a response to acute stress. Essentially, the response to stress is helpful to overcome a current threat. It is the overexposure to stress that results in harmful effects. These effects include excessive energy being stored as fat, impaired memory, and suppressed function of the immune system. Due to continuous stress, epinephrine and glucocorticoid levels will be elevated, resulting in a number of harmful effects such as abdominal obesity, hypertension, and atherosclerosis. Also, the brain can age fast as a result of this type of chemical activity. Many studies have been done on the effect of chronic stress. One recent study showed that rats that showed chronic stress, the amygdala has a dominance over the hippocampus, which may result in impaired cognitive function and enhanced emotional symptoms, which are all common symptoms of psychiatric disorders. Chronic stress can also impair or make it harder for the brain to make new memories or access old memories, mainly because of the glucocorticoid cortisol. Stress can also lead to binge eating, which has been observed in female rats. Stan has a lot on his mind, but it might have been that little amount of stress that allowed him to obtain cash from the ATM and pick up his kids on time. Stan, that was a good call, buddy. The only thing I'm worried about is that because of the job Stan does, he might experience chronic stress. I just hope that the stress of his job doesn't affect his body health.